Good morning, League fans. My name's Steve Mascord. Today I'm coming to you from London town on the eve of the new Super League season. My tour of media launches, is just about over. One to go, which is the big one, the Super League launch at Co-op Live in Manchester on Wednesday. Just trying to figure out if I'm going to set off the night before or if I'm going to get up with Sparrows and head off on Wednesday morning. With traffic to that part of the world, it can be 6.5 hours from where I live. So maybe I'll take the cruisy option and leave the night before. So on today's program, you're going to hear from the new Hull FC coach, John Cartright. Got some great reflections about his career as a coach so far, particularly his time at Gold Coast. And then we're going to hear from a group of Castleford players. We're going to hear from Tex Hoy. We're going to hear from Judah Rimbu. And we're going to hear from a couple of their teammates as well. So plenty to look forward to in this program. We're going to pack it all into the hour. And just catching up on a little bit of news. It's still not a lot of news. We still haven't heard about the takeovers of Salford or London. I'm waiting for those to happen. The player transfer market is reasonably quiet. So why don't we move on to birthdays? And today, happy 68th birthday to the great James Lulawai. Speaking of Hull FC favourite, Tony Butterfield from the Newcastle Knights, and he was in charge of the Players Association for a long time. He's 59 today. Happy birthday to Butts. Who else have we got here? Bobby Goulding, the colourful halfback for Great Britain and England. Played for Wigan, Leeds, Widnes, St Helens, Huddersfield, Wakefield, Trinity, Salford, Lee, Rochdale, Barrow and the Roosters. 53 today. Danny Nutley, Nuts, the prop. Best known, he played for Queensland. Where did he make? Probably best known for his time at the Sharks. But he also played for Warrington, Cass and the Roosters. Stuart Kelly, the centre from Gold Coast, Parramatta, Brisbane. He is 49 today. Danny Nutley's 51, by the way. Who else have we got here? Ruan Sims from the women's game. She's 43. Happy birthday, Ruan. Kevin Nangama, 36 today. He's 36 years young. Kezi Apps, again from the women's game, 34. Jack Whiten, Raiders, Souths, Australia, New South Wales, country, 32 today. Mason Lino, who's had a good career in the English game since he played for the Warriors and Newcastle, 31 today. Davida Pangai Jr., the big Tongan international, scary fella. Wouldn't like to try to tackle him. He is 29 today. And Matty Lees at St Helens. He is 27 today. George Delaney, also at St Helens, played for Swinton. 21 today, George Delaney's got a great career ahead of him. So that's it. Thanks for joining us on Good Morning League fans. This is a podcast. If you already know that, then I'm telling you it's a radio station, rugbyleague.com, 24-hour rugby league and rock music. Okay, after the break, we're back with John Cartwright. We're back at Hull FC's Media Day, sitting in the rec room, and I'm here with relatively recent arrival, John Cartwright. John, how's life in the north of England?
Yeah, I haven't been here for a while. So I'm fortunate that I have been here, so I knew what to expect. Once you settle in, you don't come over here for the weather, so there's no point complaining about the weather. You know what you're in for. But look, I love the rugby league fans over there, very passionate. And the people, I lived over here for 12 months when I played at Salford. Still got some friends from that time, but I'm over the other side of the country now and very much the same, passionate about their footy and very friendly and welcoming.
I want to chase up a couple of things Jed told me. One was that he said that he only missed out on being a Pom by 2 months. Is that right? He doesn't have any recollection of being here, but he was with you when you were at Salford.
Yeah, he come over. He was born at the end of October and over here in just after Christmas, so it wasn't far away. If he had to come early, he may well have been, but no, he was a newborn when he got here, he had no recollection of it. But it's a shame because he would have been nice to get him off that quota spot.
And so when he, and also the fact that he said someone called Newcastle, and they were calling about, Newcastle thought they were calling about him, when in fact they were calling about, Newcastle thought they were calling about, can you tell us a story?
Yeah, I think somebody inquired to Brian McDermott about me, I think, and he thought they were talking about Jed, and he gave Jed a high, give him a rap anyway. And said, he'd do a great job over there for you. But then they thought, no, that they were talking about me as a coach. So a bit of crosswise, but we both ended up here, so all ended up well.
So Brian McDermott thought he was recommending Jed? No, he thought he was recommending you.
Well, no, they asked him about me,
and
he gave them a reply about Jed. So,
right.
So went from there, and they were in the market for a back rower, and it just sort of, it worked out well for Jed and for me.
When you come into a club like this, I mean, how much do you want to just take everything on face value, and how much do you ask around, talking about advice, how much do you ask around for advice on a setup, and how much do you just want to form your own impressions,
Bit of both. Look, I've been really fortunate with the staff that we have here, especially the coaches that I work closely with in Simon and Andy. They're both played their whole life and coached their whole life in the England game. So anything I'm a bit curious about, I sort of go to them first. Richie Myler's been a great year for me, as far as, again, being involved in the game here. And they sort of know what's going to happen before it actually happens. So that's really handy, but it's also been good to come in with a fresh eyes, I suppose, especially as far as the players are concerned. Sometimes you can get too bogged down in thinking too much about things, or having preconceived ideas. So with the playing group, I've certainly listened. Most of the squad was signed before I got here, so there was no point in worrying about who could do this or who could do that. This is what we had. I was able to get Jordan Rapana and Aidan Caesar come on board, Cade Cust, we won't really know where we sit until we start playing. I don't know a hell of a lot about the opposition. I don't mind saying, and again, I like that. Being able to look at it with fresh eyes and not, again, be too preconceived in what you're thinking. It's made us really just focus on us in the pre-season, and that'll be a focus for us as well going into games. We've got to get our own stuff right. If we're good enough, we'll win. If we need to work on things, that'll come out pretty early.
Talking to Aidan, it seemed a bit like putting the band back together a little bit. I was trying to figure out how many years you had together. It was 4 years. Is he a fella you go to that you think you can rely on? Obviously, it's a crucial position on the field. Was that your thinking with recruiting him? Yeah,
I had him at a very young age, and he's gone on and done a lot since then. But even at a young age, I had him pigeonholed as a leader or as a captain one day at the Titans, and I think he probably would have been if he had stayed there. Had a very cool head as a young man. He's spent time in good systems as well, under good coaches. And his last year in the NRL at the Tigers was as good as I've seen him play. He's moving very well. He looks sharp. And there's only one way you keep improving as you get older, and that's by keep continuing to play and wanting to learn. And he has all those attributes. He has a good relationship with his players. He doesn't mind telling them where they've got to pick things up, but he's always the first to put his arm around them after training. And pretty important because we've got a funny squad here with age-wise. We've got a lot of experienced guys, but we've also got a hell of a lot of young guys. So there's not a lot in the middle. So we need those. We're going to need those younger boys at some stage. So it's important that they feel a part of it when they get a chance.
I said to Aidan that you're kind of helping each other a little bit here, and he's offended on your behalf to say that you need any help. But you're a head coach, and then you've been an assistant, and now you're back in a head coaching position. So people on the outside would think that this is, a career boost again, and on the way, being pushed back towards maybe an NRL head coach job one day. Is that the way it is from your point of view, or not?
Not really. I'd had a few stabs while I was assistant coaching over there at jobs that came up. didn't get the result as far as the job was concerned. But so I'd sort of given up on that dream, to be honest with you. I like a challenge, and I was looking for something different. I was certainly over the assistant coaching role back home, and I'd always wanted to come back here. I've had times here as player, touring. I had time here playing with Salford. So I had the 12 months here, and it was something that I always wanted to get back to. I just felt it was a scratch, and I know when I left here as a player, I really enjoyed my time, and I thought, it's something I'd love to do again. Again, I probably thought that may have gone, but the opportunity came up. I know, I'm rugby league tragic. I know what a big club Hull FC are. They've had they've been around a long time. They've had a lot of success and a lot of history. So, I feel honoured and a little bit nervous to be coaching a club, of this magnitude. But look, I've had nothing but support since I've been here. The players have bought into everything that we've asked them to do. So it's exciting. But like I said, until we get out there and play, it's the unknown. We don't know. It's a whole new side. New staff, looking forward to it. Should be good this weekend.
So clearly not a stepping stone to anything else, but the question, there's no job where you're closer to being sacked than coaching. Why do people do it? Why do you do it?
Look, the bottom line is the good times outweigh the bad. Even when you have a bad, you might be in the middle of a bad season or a bad patch or a bad trot. It's those periods that make you better. It's a very uncomfortable position to be in. I've been in it as a coach, and I've been there watching coaches as an assistant coach, and it's a tough, lonely time. But at the end of the day, I love the game. I love working with young men who want to do something with their careers. You just got to try and block out that outside noise, which can be hard to do, but it also makes you work harder. And as I said, I think you learn more out of the periods where you struggle than actually the periods where you're doing really well.
Yeah. And so, what do you kind of think is do? Oh, before I say that, when you look back, if you were writing your biography and I was your ghostwriter, what would be the standout chapters as far as, I don't know, things you'd change or things that really you wish had gone another way, the sliding doors moments, in coaching?
In coaching, it's a tough one to put on the spot. Probably the times at the Titans where it's a tough question to be put on the spot. I was a young coach at the Titans. I probably could have made some harder decisions on recruitment. We had a really successful period in our first 5 years, and then didn't make the tough decisions on. Wayne Bennett's always made tough decisions. Craig Bellamy's always made tough decisions on recruitment. I probably would definitely change just some things around recruitment.
Be more ruthless.
Yeah, just probably made tougher decisions on players who'd been fantastic for the club, but just having that succession plan of guys coming through, or replacing like for like, relied a lot on youth and put too much pressure on those players. And when results start going south on you, it's a really, really hard thing to rescue. If you don't have a really, you need talent to start with, but. To expect a very young group of kids to bounce out of something that, when it's on the slide in the pressure cooker of a Super League or an NRL, it can be quite difficult.
Yeah, now, we could sit here forever, but I won't subject you to that. So, just your background in the sport here. What do you make of the Super League teams playing amateur teams in a couple of weeks?
Yeah, it's a dream come true, I suppose, for the amateur teams. It's you sit back and watch the FA Cup, and there's a couple of results on the weekend where London got beat. They're second, in the second tier. One of the tiers below beat them. One of the amateur teams beat Hunslet, who were in the second or third tier. So there's still scope for upsets along the way, and it is you watch a lot of TV shows and you see underdogs like that and come out the other side. as a Super League club, you always worry about injuries in games where, hopefully no one goes out there to make a name for themselves. And we've got one next week, so we'll find out. Look, I think it's a great concept. It's been around for a long, long time. It's something I know in Australia when I was a kid, and even, coaching, you'd always set the alarm clock to get up and watch the final of the Challenge Cup. Huge crowd at Wembley. It'd have to be a bucket list thing for anyone who's played the game to play a game at Wembley. But you've got to endure these games along the way through. I don't know. I'll have a better answer for you in a week's time.
Thanks, John. We'll see you during the year. Okay, we're at today. We're finishing our run of media days, and we're at Castleford, and I've got Zack Cini from. He's come from Oz. How long have you been here, Zack?
I've been here for 3 months now. So just come over midway through November. Knocked out a bit of pre-season, now starting to head into games.
And what do you make of it?
Cold, very cold, big difference. No, it's good. It's been really, really exciting times. It's a new time for Castleford, and I'm keen to be a part of that. So it's been really good so far.
Now, tell us a bit about how you came to be here, because you were out of the NRL for 2 or 3 years.
Yep.
So what's the connection? How do they find you?
I don't know. I try to stay out of all the stuff. I just let my manager deal with all the talks. I just play rugby league, and if someone's interested, then great. But he brought it up to me. It sounded like a really good opportunity for me in terms of rugby league and my family as well. I've got a young family. It was a good opportunity to experience new things and that. So it sounded really exciting. So I jumped on it.
So last year, when you first heard from Cass, what were you doing?
I think I was mid-season at Parramatta playing for the reserve grade. So I was having a pretty good year. So I was keen to play at the top grade somewhere. So I thought, come over to Cass, and I get to be a part of something new at the top level and really test myself.
Have you been to England before?
Yeah, I have. We played an Australian schoolboys competition in 2018. We played 5 games, but we actually played at the Cass ground.
All right.
Yeah, so I got 2 tries here back in 2018.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And mate, what were your first impressions of? You've been here before, so the general day-to-day stuff. What about the footy stuff and the pre-season training? Was that different to back home?
I mean, pre-season's pre-season anywhere you go. It's all hard. It doesn't matter where you are. It's going to be hard. You've got to test yourself. The biggest adjustment for me was the cold. So, I'm used to doing pre-season in the heat and in the sun. So just getting your body warmed up and getting ready for training each day was probably the biggest adjustment for me. But the training's the same. You train hard wherever you go.
Is one of the attractions of being over here, I know you've got a young family, do you want to see a bit of Europe and stuff and get away on weekends off, or is that not something you've thought about yet?
There's something we thought about. If we get the chance to, then great. We'd love to do it. It's, you're a lot closer to everywhere over here than you are in Australia. It's a big flight from Australia, but priorities playing rugby league and week in, week out, and if we get a bit of chance to go somewhere, we will.
What do you think the footy will be like? Will it be different to back home? I know I spoke to Kyle Felt, and he said that he says here they try to hurt you more. What do you think?
Yeah, well, it's a bit of a slower track, with the weather and stuff. So everyone tries to tighten up and smash you. So my goal is to not get smashed.
Yeah. And what's it like? Obviously, Brett, you would have known him as a player. So what's he like as a coach?
Yeah, really good. Bit of familiarity to back home. Makes you feel a bit more comfortable. It's been good. He's real tough. He's real into the defence, and he really gets you going.
Physically?
Nah, luckily no. Luckily, I wouldn't want that.
Next up here at Cass's Media Day, and I think it's the last Media Day we'll be going to, is Liam Horne. He's done a bit of travelling lately, haven't you? You've been back to the Southern Hemisphere?
Yeah, went back to PNG for the Pacific Championship. Went over to Fiji, the first Fiji over there, and then down to Sydney to versus the Kiwis. So done a bit of travelling, and it's been really good.
What's it like to sort of go back into the international program, play alongside a bunch of NRL players, and is it a different test?
It is. To be honest, it's one of the best times of the year when you get to go back and test yourselves against other nations, especially when they're the rivalries like Fiji, one of our big rivalries, and getting to test ourselves against the Kiwis was a big step forward in Papua New Guineans rugby league. Heading towards NRL. So even though we lost, but it was still a good opportunity to see where we're at, and yeah.
Now, there's quite a sort of PNG theme here. It gets bigger every year, doesn't it? What does that have a kind of impact around training? I don't know. Do you guys sort of find that you combine a bit better, or is it what impact does it have on the club here?
No, I think that those combinations will just come throughout the year. Back in the Kumbles, we've got our combinations there, but I think throughout the year, as we progress through more games, I think you're going to start to see those combinations come to light.
Talk us through last year, because you were off the bottom. You're pretty safe, 2/3 of the way through the season, really, weren't you? So then you're able to kind of build, really. So when the season started, the first half of the season, was it that kind of fear of staying away from the bottom of the table, and then once that wasn't a problem anymore, you were able to kind of improve? Was that the way the season progressed from your perspective? Yeah,
I guess we just wanted to play consistent footy and compete in games, and not just have games just go away from us. And as the year progressed, there was a couple of games there where if we won those couple of games, we would have gone higher up in the table. But it was a fine margin, and I think this year we'll just focusing on just building each game as the season progresses.
It's a really exciting time for rugby league in PNG. Justin Olam was one guy who said he was worried that they weren't ready for an NRL team. So I just wonder, obviously, you've just been there and you've got more experience than most. What's your opinion on that, whether the PNG's ready?
No, they're more than ready. The PNG NRL bid have been doing a wonderful job back home in doing, training days all around the country, bringing young girls and boys together from young ages all the way up until 18 years old, and they're going out in places that are very remote, and they're training kids out there, and they're working real hard to grow rugby league in PNG. And obviously, the issue is at that grassroots level, but they're building that infrastructure as we speak, and they've been doing so for the last couple of years. So it's in the right direction, and I can't wait till 2028 when they're in the NRL.
Will you be part of that, do you think?
You never know. You never say never.
Tell me, one of the issues that has also been identified is whether players want to move there, whether players want to live there. Is it going to be difficult for them to attract players?
Yes and no. Obviously, that tax incentive, not getting taxed. How good is that? But there's talk of them living in a compound. Where part of the city's sectioned off just for them, and they're going to have everything there for them. And the big one, safety. People think that they're not going to be safe, but I guarantee you, in PNG, if you're a rugby league player, you're going to be safe 100%. They'll worship you, they'll look after you. My advice to anyone that's thinking about going over there is you're going to be safe 100%.
Yeah. So in 2028, how old will you be?
I think I'll be 30 years old.
Yeah.
So I'll be hitting my peak.
Any discussions yet with the people involved? Andrew Hill's the CEO, isn't he?
Yeah. No, nothing yet. I'm just focused on my job over here.
So what's a successful year here for you? They asked the coach. I won't tell you what he said. I'll see what your answer is. What's a successful year here for Cass this year, do you think?
Consistently perform at a high level.
Yeah.
That's basically it.
Yeah.
Consistently perform at a high level, and not too fussed about where we want to finish. But if I'd say, I'd like to be in the top 6.
We're still at Cass's Media Day, and I've got Judah Rimbu here. He has just arrived from PNG. How long have you been here, Judah?
Probably a month now. I came here on the 29th December, so it's been a month now.
Have you been here before?
No, I've never been here before. Yeah.
Sorry. I was going to say, give us your first impressions. What are your first impressions?
I think the code impressed me more. So I think, yeah. But yeah, it's good to be here. It's good to be here at CAS.
And the training, is it something you've been used to before, or what is it harder than usual, or what do you?
Oh yeah, I'm just used to like a weather where it's like tropical weathers and that, but just going around with the boys, the ground's a bit muddy and that, but it's good that going around with the boys and get the training dudes down there.
So, the Pacific Championships was a really good. It was a highlight of your career, really. Do you think Pacific Championships?
Oh yeah, I think my highlight of my career was in Q Cup. I played my best game there this year, 2024, and it was just, at the end of working hard, from pre-season and that. And there was a highlight to play Pacific Cup and win the ball and play against New Zealand. It was a highlight for the year.
Yeah, and what do you like to come here? Did you think that you wanted to come play in England, or was it something that only arose late in the year? What was the story about you coming here?
Oh, growing up, I always wanted to play in Super League or NRL, and I always put goals, and achieve them month by month, week by week, and that, and it's a goal, and that I achieve. And when the offer come up, I didn't hesitate. I just said, well, Cartwright was my only team I supported in Super League, so I just put pen on paper, and it's Super League, so it's a dream come true. So I said, take the chance.
The success of Edwin Pape, that's got to be encouraging for you. He's been a big hit over here, hasn't he?
Absolutely. He's a raw talent from PNG, coming here, making his name. I got a lot of respect for him. Such an inspiration for young ones going back home, and it's an inspiration. And that's Edwin Pape has done his, and I can't be Edwin Pape. I wanted to do the Rainbow, so I wanted to, achieve my goals and dreams, so I can be the best I can be. And I got a lot of respect for Edwin. He's been the top guy in comp, so yeah, I always happy watching him killing it, yeah, but really happy.
Tell us about, what it was like when everyone heard that there was going to be a PNG team in 2028. What impact has that had in PNG?
Oh, there's a lot of impact for PNG to enter NRL. This give a lot of opportunity for young ones coming up from PNG. There's a lot of talent in PNG, but there's no good pathways and all that. And I believe that NRL team, the 2028, they're gonna go. PNG gonna go. It's gonna inspire a lot of young ones and people, give opportunities and all that. So it's a really good deal done by the Prime Minister between the Prime Minister, PNG and Australia, and I'm really happy. I hope I'm gonna get picked. I can play NRL too. But yeah, it's really good opportunity for Papua New Guinea kids and young ones growing up, and our players as well, to get into NRL and get a crack in there.
Justin Olam said he didn't think that PNG was ready. He said that during the World Cup. He didn't think the pathways were there. What do you think?
Oh yeah, it's just because of the pathways back home, it's when we start playing 17, 18s and all that, so you just think about the pathways, when you go to NRL, there's under 4s and 5s and coming up, so you just think about that and then said it, but the team is already in, so I think it's good that the team is already in, so it's going to be pathway. I think there's something's going back home, so there's people working behind the scenes, so I got nothing against what he said. That's his opinion, but that's what he meant, where there's not much development back home, but I'm happy that PNG is entering NRL in 2028, so I'm so happy, and I'm excited for myself and for young ones coming up, so they can have opportunity to crack into NRL and be the best ambassador for the country.
One of the things that's been said also, that'd be difficult to attract players, to get players to move up there. What do you think?
I don't think it'd be difficult for players to move up there. PNG is a good country. It's just people that social media make it the worst. But I don't think it will be difficult for players to get up there, I promise. And I know the Prime Minister's going to put his heart and soul in there to protect the players if he wants to, but the capital is really cool. It's just the social media subset. Social media made it difficult, but I know the boys will love it. Get good money, go up there.
and you'll be one of them?
Absolutely. Fingers crossed, stay consistent week in, week out. Year in, year out, and discipline, committed, and probably I'll get a chance to crack into.
Okay, Cass's Media Day, Tex Hoy, and the listeners would have heard us talking to a few of the new signings at Cass, and I just wonder, this fella's been in England a couple of years now. What sort of advice can you give them about playing footy over here?
Take your time to adjust. It's a completely different style of footy that it is back home in Oz. So just find your feet, and don't expect things to happen for you straight away. But that's probably my best advice for them.
What about the atmosphere around footy? Is that different to Australia as well? Just on match days and during the week and training and everything. Obviously, the media attention isn't the same, is it?
Nah, I think you get bigger crowds over there, but over here you can have a smaller crowd that sounds a lot more than what they get over there. You know, I've played at Magic Weekend in Australia, and I've played at Magic Weekend in England, and you know, I think it's double. In Australia, it's double the crowd, but you know, it's half as loud. So you know, the fans are good here. That's probably one of the best parts about rugby league over here is the fans and how much they get involved in the game.
How do you look back on your time here so far, Tex? Like you've been pleased with all the decisions you made and everything that's happened, or would you do a few things different, or how do you sort of reflect on it?
Obviously, would do some things differently. Hasn't been really smooth sailing for me being in England, but you know, it's part of moving away from something you're comfortable with back home, and learning things like that. But you know, I think I've finding my feet now. You know, I'm know what's expected of England, and I said to one of the other interviewers that you know, when I open the blinds in the morning, I know it's going to be a great day. So I'm used to it.
It is a different system over here with players being traded, and you're sort of not having a say in it a little bit, isn't it? Like, is that hard for a player from Australia to get used to, the sort of the player transfer system here?
Yeah, even if you go on loan to the championship as well, that's something you're not used to in Oz, because you have that stable club, you know, junior systems and reserve grade systems, but you know, it hasn't affected me yet. I mean, I moved from Hull to Cass, but yeah, it is different. I think that comes from more of the soccer side of things, but yeah, it's an interesting one.
When you came over, did you think you'd sort of be a one-club guy and you just go to the club you signed with and then either stay or go back? Was this a completely unexpected thing, or did you, were you had an open mind to changing clubs over here?
I don't want to go too much in my contract there, but I thought it was going to be a one-club, kind of thing at FC. But obviously things don't work out, and it is probably maybe a good thing that England do those quick transfers and stuff like that. So an opportunity to popped up, and I took it with both hands. And
is it your kind of plan to sort of go back at some point, or are you happy to play out your career here? Have you thought about that?
It's in the back of my mind of whatever. You can do what's best for me. Obviously Australia's home, so away from family, away from friends, and it's going to be difficult. Especially when that time comes when you want to start raising a family and stuff like that. But just whatever's best for my career at the time is going to be my option.
Yeah, and what's it like here on a cold night with a bomb going up and you can barely see it? Is it scary?
No, I'm used to it now. That's part of my job being a fullback, is to catch the balls. The ball slaps your arms a bit more and makes it sting a little bit more in the winter, in the cold nights. But I'm used to it. I'm used to it now, and that's part of my job. So yeah.